They were once the rulers of 3 continents, the bridge between East and West, guardians of Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. Yet somehow this giant vanished into thin air. This is the story of the Ottomans. In the cold lands of Anatolia, amidst the ruins of broken empires, a small warrior tribe emerged. Their leader, Osman, with faith in one hand and a sword in the other, he planted the seed of a dream, an empire under Allah's name. He carved his name in blood, sweat, and sacrifice, laying the foundation of an empire that would outlast him by 5 centuries. The year was 1299. Anatolia would never be the same again. From the fragmented remnants of the Seljuk Sultanate, the Ottomans rose like a shining star, expanding their rule from central Anatolia to the warm waters of the Mediterranean. Under the banner of Islam, they marched, they fought, they bled, they conquered. To them, war was not just a battle for land, it was a jihad for Allah. As the Ottomans grew, so did their legend. Tribes who once mocked their strength now trembled at their might. Cities once safe in their citadels found themselves surrounded and subdued. The Ottomans weren't just conquerors, they were nation builders. Where they conquered, mosques and schools replaced fortresses. Mosques bore witness to daily prayers and echoed with the voices of scholars. Schools became centers of knowledge, nurturing generations of Muslim thinkers. Every conquest brought them closer to Mecca. The dream of unity was becoming a reality. By 1326, when Osman's son, Orhan, took the throne, the foundations of the Ottoman state were firmly set. Under Orhan's rule, the empire's first capital, Bursa, became a hub of trade and culture. As the Ottomans expanded, they didn't just conquer new lands, they embraced diversity. Christians and Jews found a place in their empire, contributing to its growth. Each group, though distinct, was united under the banner of the Ottoman state. But greatness was around the corner. Enter Murad I, a name synonymous with ruthlessness and expansionism. When he came to power, the Ottomans were poised on the edge of greatness. Murad, a warrior king, led them over the edge. His victories reshaped the map of the region. The Balkans, once distant, were now a part of the Ottoman domain. Belgrade fell to his might, opening the gates to Central Europe. The Ottoman army wasn't just larger than any force the Byzantines had ever seen. It was also more disciplined. These soldiers weren't just fighters. They were brothers in arms, bound together by a common faith and loyalty to their sultan. By the mid-14th century, the Ottoman flag flew proudly over lands that stretched from the Middle East to the edges of Eastern Europe. And the Sultan's court was a melting pot of cultures, languages, and traditions, reflecting the vastness and diversity of their empire. Yet even as the empire reached new heights, whispers of discontent began to stir. Rebellions flared up, testing the empire's resolve. Murad faced these challenges head-on, crushing rebellions and solidifying his rule. Then came Bayezid, the Thunderbolt, a title earned through sheer force of arms. He turned the tide against the crumbling Mongol hordes, pushing them back beyond the Volgograd River. The Russian princes who once challenged Ottoman might now trembled at the mere mention of his name. Then there was Mehmed the Conqueror, the man who shifted the course of history. For him, the jewel of the Byzantine Empire gleamed on the horizon, calling out to be claimed. Constantinople, the city that had resisted for a millennium, was his ultimate prize. On April 1453, the cannons boomed, shaking the very foundations of the city. For 53 long days, the Ottoman army laid siege to the walls of Constantinople, determined to make it theirs. On May, as the city fell, the Hagia Sophia echoed with the call to prayer, marking a new chapter in history. With Constantinople as his prize, Mehmed proclaimed himself the new Caesar. The Ottoman Sultan was now the ruler of 3 continents. The fall of Constantinople was more than just a military victory. It was a symbolic triumph. The old was giving way to the new. The Byzantine era was ending, making way for the Ottoman age. And at the heart of it all, standing tall amidst the ruins of the old city, was the magnificent Hagia Sophia. Once a symbol of Christian dominance, it now stood as a testament to the might of the Ottomans, serving as both a mosque and a symbol of unity for the empire. Under Selim the Grim, the Ottomans' embrace extended further into the Arabian world. With decisive victories at the battles of Aleppo and Karansebes, he united the lands from Egypt to the Gulf. This wasn't just territorial expansion. It was a spiritual reunification of Muslim lands under one banner. Suleiman the Magnificent, the Sultan whose name resonated across Europe and the Middle East, Suleiman's reign wasn't just about luxury and grandeur. It was about justice and fairness. Known as the Lawgiver, he introduced legal reforms that were progressive for their time. But his reign was also marked by extensive military campaigns. From the Battle of Karansebes to the Siege of Rhodes, Suleiman's armies not only expanded Ottoman borders, they also defended Muslim lands. Under his rule, the Ottomans reached their territorial peak, stretching from Hungary to the edges of Yemen. During this era, Istanbul throbbed with life. It was a city where cultures intertwined and ideas flourished. Suleiman's courts were renowned for their patronage of art and science. Architects, poets, and scientists found a home in Istanbul, contributing to what became known as the Magnificent Era. But beneath this golden surface, seeds of decline were already being sown. Administrative burdens grew, finances strained, and rebellions flared up, testing the empire's resilience. As the 17th century dawned, the Ottoman Empire entered a period of stagnation and gradual decline. Internal issues combined with external pressures to form a perfect storm. By the early 18th century, the empire was on shaky ground. Then came the wars, draining the treasury and weakening the state. By the late 18th century, the mighty Ottoman machine started to sputter. In the 19th century, the empire faced a new challenge: European colonialism. The once mighty Ottoman rulers were now forced to seek help from outside forces to protect their own people. It was a humiliating turn of events that shook the very foundations of the empire. Then came World War I. The Ottomans sided with the Central Powers, hoping to regain some of their lost glory. But instead, they suffered further defeats and territorial losses. In the aftermath of the war, the victorious powers carved up the Ottoman lands among themselves, ending the dreams of a unified Islamic world. On November 1st, 1922, the last Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed VI, was forced to abdicate. The 623-year-old empire was no more. The transformation of the Ottoman Empire into a modern Turkish republic was spearheaded by Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, a charismatic leader who emerged as the father of modern Turkey. His vision was clear: a secular, democratic, and westernized state. The old ways were swept aside, replaced by new laws, new institutions, and a new identity. The fez was discarded in favor of the Western-style hat. Arabic script gave way to the Latin alphabet. Women's rights were expanded and political parties were legalized. In 1924, the last caliphate of Islam was dissolved. The Ottomans, once the custodians of Islam's holiest sites, were no longer a religious power. They were a modern Turkish state. Today, the legacy of the Ottomans lives on in the ruins of their palaces, mosques, and tombs. Places like Topkapi Palace and the Suleimani Mosque stand as silent witnesses to the empire's grandeur. Across the former Ottoman lands, echoes of their influence can still be heard. The Arabic language, influenced by Ottoman Turkish, continues to be a unifying force. The call to prayer, once echoing from Ottoman mosques, still resonates in many parts of the world. But what if things had unfolded differently? What if internal strife hadn't weakened the empire? What if they had stayed united? Could the Ottoman Empire have become a global superpower? In the bustling streets of modern Istanbul, among the minarets and bazaars, the spirit of the Ottomans seems almost palpable. The city, once known as Constantinople, stands as a living testament to the empire's enduring legacy. And in the eyes of the children gazing up at the magnificent Hagia Sophia, one can see a glimmer of that lost empire, reminding us of what once was and what could have been. This was the story of the Ottoman Empire, a tale of rise and fall, of glory and ashes. Subscribe to delve deeper into more lost empires of the world. They ruled 3 continents, but where did the Ottoman Empire vanish? How did this mighty empire fall? Join me next time as we uncover more tales of history's giants. See you then.